Crime has always been at the heart of urban societies around the world, and youth crime is no exception. As of 2010 in the UK, approximately 74,000 youths aged 10 to 17 were found guilty of committing illegal offences. Almost half of the 74,000 youths were aged 15 or under. According to a study by gov.org, in the 10-year period starting from 2005, the number of first-time entrants has greatly been reduced from around 100,000 to 20,000, an improvement at best, but youth crime still persists to this day. In 2011, the number of youth crime entrants has been reduced to 50,000 approximately.
When we talk about the riots, we still have to go back into the stem of why the riots started, and that's because Mark died, whether people like it or not, whether people know him or not, but he is the reason why everything has started. And right now, when they do pull up stuff about his death and little things that was important at the time, it's like they're not important no more because of the rioting and the looting that the media and the government is highlighting more than his death.
I think it's sad at times in terms of how it may take place. For example, when you see young people maybe stealing things, or you may see knife attacks, or you hear quite a bleak view of how the media portrays a young person, but every person has their own circumstances, and I don't think it should be labelled on a young person as such, rather than loads of people all have and all do commit crimes.
My opinion on young people that commit crimes, I think a lot of it is very opportunistic behaviour, maybe peer pressure, really. I don't think young people go out there intentionally looking to commit crime.
Youth crime is increasing at the moment. There's a lot of youth crime out there on the streets right now. If you go in the streets, you see someone getting murdered, a lot of gangs, a lot of, people getting stabbed. I mean, we had a stabbing only this Monday. The guy was young, but there was still a murder in the streets of Harrow. So, murder is on the rise, and so is youth crime.
Between the 6th to 11th of August, thousands of people rioted in several London boroughs, as well as cities and towns across England following the police shooting of 29-year-old Mark Dougan.
Under the red blanket, a man lies dead, shot by police minutes earlier. This was filmed by a member of the public. The dead man was Mark Duggan, a 29-year-old father of 6 from Tottenham.
For 5 days, looting and vandalism persisted in the streets of London. 17% of the rioters were aged between 11 and 17, and those accused were mostly young males, often unemployed.
I think a lot of it is, like I said before, is like peer pressure, how society perceives them, and then they feel as though they have to live up to some form of expectation. And I think sometimes it can be like other people in their area that might be into violence and them splashing their money around and stuff. It makes it look appealing.
I don't know, but I think if I had to put myself in that thought process, there'll be simple things as you may be doing it for food. You may be doing it because you're part of a group. You may be doing it because you have nothing to do. You may be doing it because you've been told that you are no better and there's nothing out there for you. There are so many different brackets and reasons, but I like to think of the theft or the crime or the physical action is a reaction, but what has triggered that? What are the steps before that took place for that to happen?
Motivation is lack of opportunities, lack of a good education, not a well-being. It's out there. The kids are idolizing, hip-hop stars, thinking that they are God, basically. It's all about the fast life. Flashy car, good clothes, easy women, and that's what they want, and they think it comes without a cost.
The people who actually commit crime, or the young people who are getting into that, it's mainly because their parents doesn't pay any attention to them. So it's more about the attention that they don't receive. They get into crime because they want to be into something.
Do you also think that the other possibilities of motivation between with youth crimes are probably with education? Or
Mainly the education, but it's more about the education that they receive in homes that affects how the people grow up and get into that.
Those who take first offences further and commit more crimes. In 2007, youth crime was at its peak with a drastic 225,000 offences. 49% were first offences, 51% were further offences. In 2015, youth crime has dropped extensively to approximately 60,000, with 39% of first-time offences and 61% of further offences.
Help them feel supported. I spoke to a couple of young people yesterday and I asked them what it's like being a young person, because I'm not much older than them myself, and they said it's awkward or frustrating, or you feel like you're expected to know it all, or you feel like no one actually believes in you to do something. Now, these are kids who aren't necessarily involved in criminal activities. And if they're feeling like that, how are other kids on the other side feeling like that? How are they feeling about the situation? It's one of those things where fundamentally it's difficult to be a young person, but if you are supported, whether it's family or friends or outside groups, or there's activities for them to do to feel good at, such as, I don't know, drama is a great outlet, or sports, or arts, or you might like math or reading or writing stories, whatever it is, if you find a way in which they are able to express themselves or find out, more importantly, who they are in a positive way, I think that can reduce crime.
I come from a youth ground background, and I think the shutting of a lot of youth clubs has meant that there's a lot of places where young people can't go to no more. And so they are hanging out on the streets, they are hanging around on their estates, and when people hang out in groups, they get into mischief. And I think it starts off as petty mischief, and it gets more serious and more serious and more serious as it escalates. But I think by reopening a lot of youth clubs and putting money into youth funding, like so young people can do things that they want to do, like computer programming or go-karting or computer gaming or develop apps and have things that they can do in youth clubs to develop these things, I think it works out. And you'd have the youth workers and youth clubs actually holding a majority of young people and keeping them in and just keeping them out of crime.
Despite the decrease of youth crime, it is still a problem among neighbourhoods and communities all over the country. The British police force are still continuing their duty to reduce crime regardless of which age group commits it.